Hello, it's AJ, and welcome to the download from 24 IT Services. I'm stumbling over my words already this week. We've got another brilliant show lined up today with a great guest. Well, actually, from right here at 24, our very own Mike Smith is joining us for today's episode.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah. Welcome, Mike. Are you having a good week?
Not bad.
Yeah? Keeping busy as always.
Yes. Not quite as busy as last week.
No.
Or indeed the week before. Grandparent duties in northern Belgium.
You've been travelling here, there, and everywhere over this past couple of weeks, haven't you? You've been in Belgium. Yes. Were you up in Glasgow as well? Even only yesterday.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, was in Edinburgh yesterday.
Bleeding hell, travelling everywhere.
Oh no. It's just not fair, is it?
No.
Here am I should be retiring, and what am I doing? Travelling the country like a loon.
and sitting and chatting with me for about an hour or so.
No.
Just what you want on a Wednesday.
This is the best part of the week.
Not said sarcastically at all.
No. You can see just how honest I'm.
Thrilled.
I'm absolutely thrilled, my man. Thrilled. Yes.
Right, okay. Well, let's dive right into the news for this week. Now, how about we start with one from McDonald's? How easy did McDonald's make it to access their brand and marketing hub that's meant for, well, teams, agencies, and franchises in 120 countries? Well, the answer to this one is very, very easy. A security researcher, bleed now, by the name of Bob the Hacker. Okay.
You can't write the script.
No, you can't. Well, apparently I did, but I still don't believe it. He found that he could access the McDonald's Feel Good Design Hub through a simple client-side password, which was not restricted to employee or partner ID logins until 3 months after he reported the issue to them. And even then, all he had to do to regain access was change the login section of the URL to register, and he could create a new account to access the platform without any sort of verification. Bob also said that McDonald's didn't make it easy to report any security flaws in their site, and he had to find contact information through public services such as LinkedIn, and then call their corporate head office just to randomly ask for these people until he found someone he could report the issue to. You would think that a company such as McDonald's, even if it is through a marketing hub, would make it easy to be able to report security flaws or also actually do independent penetration testing, but that's beside the point. We'll come back to that one in a minute.
The hubris of large brands, AJ.
Exactly.
Large brands.
Exactly. But this also comes just over a month after another hacker managed to access the back end of the McHire, what a name, by the way, chatbot, which was secured by the password 123456. Apparently, this allowed hackers into a test area of the McHire app, which then allowed them to gain access to the McHire API to then gain access to personal details, including name, email address, phone number, and physical address, as well as other information of those applying to McDonald's, which include the details of about 64 million people around the world. Oh my God. I mean, I suppose the question for this one is, do we think that large brands such as McDonald's should be using independent penetration testing on some of these services before making them live to public use?
A good question, my friend. Very good question. But the chance of actually going up to the IT department of the likes of McDonald's and saying, "Hello, could I do an independent penetration test?" Short shrift wouldn't really come into it, would it? It would be a case of, in an American accent, "Get thee hence, my son. I know more about this than you do."
Yeah, they just think
1, 2,
that
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
excellent password.
They think that potentially they believe that the companies that they're working with on these solutions are operating by standard security practices, and that potentially these third-party companies that they're working with for the McHire or even the McDonald's Feel Good Design Hub, maybe they feel that they should be doing the penetration testing. But if I was a large brand such as McDonald's...
Get someone else to do it.
Exactly. You would be wanting to do third-party verification.
Someone who doesn't already know, what path to take or how to make it work or anything.
Yeah.
It's the people who know nothing who actually best test your software or best test your
Exactly.
do penetration testing, because they're coming in completely agnostic.
Yeah.
And they're just going, okay, let's have a go at this. Let's see if that works. It's called ethical hacking.
Yeah.
Get Chenakai on it. That's the
Yeah. Get one of our team members on it.
Is this going to interrupt if I mention the Kintetsu World Express event in May?
No, go for it.
I only mention it because, okay, the incident overview. For those who don't know, KWE, they specialize in freight forwarding, right? So they do the coordination of shipments on behalf of businesses worldwide, and it's a subsidiary of Kintetsu Group Holdings, which is one of the Japanese Keiretsu, which is a major Japanese railway holding company as it happens, right? So the logistics firm operates in over 30 countries with numerous offices worldwide. So what happened? Starting around April 23rd, 2025, KWE identified unauthorized access via ransomware. Okay, so they set up an emergency response team on April 28th with ongoing efforts to recover systems into early May. So far, so good. Despite the attack, most systems remained functional while recovery was underway, and KWE engaged forensic teams and international law enforcement and pledged to notify any customers whose data may have been affected. The context is that they had warning that this incident was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because this followed a previous breach tied to the 888 hacking group and occurred amid a wave of cyber attacks across some 46 major Japanese firms. So you could say this was the second bite of the cherry, chaps.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've seen it all recently as well with M&S, haven't we? It took them... they've only just in the last week restored access to their click and collect service. 15 weeks following suffering a cyber attack. This is despite them saying that they had the necessary processes and procedures in place to not only secure their systems, which obviously maybe they were either outdated or not adequate enough for the type of security that they required, but also they stated that they had backup and disaster recovery solutions and incident response plans in place. Now, if you ask me, if they say that they had an incident response plan and backup and disaster recovery plan in place, why did it take them 15 weeks to be able to restore click and collect services?
Just remind me of what we said a few minutes ago about the hubris of major brands.
Exactly.
No, we shouldn't laugh. We really,
no.
Actually, we really shouldn't laugh, because the fact of the matter is, there but for the grace of God go I, and go us all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got to be a little bit careful when we're laughing out loud on this.
I know. It's good to be able to laugh at it from the outside looking in, but the actual serious impact of this is that not only has it affected M&S, but it's also affected their suppliers. Oh, yeah. We spoke a couple of weeks back on the podcast about Peter Green Chilled, for example.
Yes.
One of the M&S suppliers who was also impacted by this. But it also affected suppliers of other brands. So Co-op, who also suffered the cyber attack from the same cyber criminal group at the same time, their suppliers were hit by it as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the upstream and downstream connectivity, which is absolutely paramount in today's supply chains.
Yeah.
Third-party logistics, manufacturing, warehousing. The fact of the matter is, you've got connectivity to your customers, you've got connectivity to your suppliers. So you've really got to get into zero trust stuff and MF, but we'll come back to that later. You mentioned Peter Green Chilled.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a slightly different aspect from the event they had in May 2025.
Yeah.
Right. So who are Peter Green Chilled? Well, they're a UK distributor serving Tesco, Sainsbury's, Aldi, and others, including M&S.
M&S, of course, yeah.
They were struck by a ransomware attack.
Yeah.
So what happens there? The problem is cyber criminals are deliberately targeting parts of the supply chain that create maximum chaos, because they're going, how much money are we going to make out of an attack? How can we maximize the bang for our buck?
Yeah.
Because these guys are operating a business. And you've got to recall that they are operating like a business, complete with a board, business plans, the whole bit. You know, when they're going out there, they're researching their targets for days and days and sometimes weeks in order to work out how much can we attack them for? How much can they afford to give us? What sort of invoicing profile are they doing? What sort of invoices are they receiving?
Yeah.
How much money are they dealing with? And they're working out, in a sense, how much can we afford to charge these guys for our services?
What are the financials behind this cyber attack, basically?
Yes. Is it worthwhile doing?
Yeah.
And if they can attack one operation which cascades out into multiples, I know we weren't originally going to talk about this, but it brings to mind, and I'm not going to mention any names because it would be very, very wrong, but that transport management software, that got hacked in their central data operations, and if I remember rightly, they had something like 235, 240 clients who used their software.
Yeah.
And for something like 6-7 weeks, those downstream companies could not operate. They did not have a transport management system. They were back to paper.
Oh my God.
This has not been publicized, and you don't read about it in The Economist, and you don't read about it in the FT, because the company concerned absolutely moved heaven and earth to make sure that nobody found out.
Hid it, for lack of a better phrase.
Hid it, absolutely. Because it would have been existential.
Yeah. And this kind of goes back to a topic that we covered again a couple of weeks back on the podcast, where we spoke about changes that are coming into the UK and into cybersecurity laws, where it will now be enforced that businesses have to disclose these type of cyber attacks. But not only that, we're now talking about where the UK government is now saying people should not be paying ransomware, and in some sectors they will actually penalize people for paying ransomware attacks.
To be honest, I think they're wrong in that. I understand the sentiment, and I understand the politics behind it, because it plays well to the public. No, we're not going to pay these people for their dire deeds. But the fact of the matter is, if you're an SME and you don't pay, if you haven't mitigated it by having absolutely bomb-proof disaster recovery, immutable backups, and taken the time and effort to make sure that is available and that happens, matey, if you don't pay, you're out of business.
And it goes back to what we're always trying to do. What people and what the government should be doing is educating businesses throughout the UK and saying, look, these are the essential elements that you need to have as part of your business for cybersecurity. Without these, you are posing a risk to not only yourselves, but your customers and clients. Like, what we should be doing is making sure that businesses have these minimum cyber defense levels.
Absolutely.
Even if it comes to enforcing something like the minimum cyber essentials, every business should now abide by the minimum cyber essentials or something like that. And that's what we do here. I mean, Mike, you'll give more inside information potentially on this, but we made a decision, a couple of years back probably now. Every new client that is onboarded, unless they take our minimum cyber defense level, we will not take them on board as a customer.
That's correct.
And we've had people come to us and say, we don't want cybersecurity, and we just, okay, we will help you go to somewhere else. But if you are wanting to be a customer of ours, if you want to work with us and us help you to progress as a business, you have to take our minimum cyber defense level.
The analogy I think of here, it's like going to your insurance company and saying, hey, I'd like home insurance, please. Thank you very much. What sort of locks have you got in your doors? Locks? I'm not paying money for locks. I don't need locks.
Alarm?
What about burglar alarm?
Yeah.
What? Burglar alarm? No. You give me an insurance policy that covers me for any losses I have, but I'm not going to bother looking after myself in any way, shape, or form.
Not only that, I'm going to leave the door wide open for
Why
people.
not? Okay, we're being flippant, but it's a bit like that.
Yeah.
God helps those who help themselves, as they say.
Yeah.
And therefore, if somebody says no, even the minimum level of saying, no, we're not going to spend any money on cybersecurity, we're not going to bother with, Cyber Essentials or anything like that, we can't do anything else but say, listen, guy, we can't support you, because if anything happens, we're the ones that are picking it up and trying to deal with it.
Of course.
And prevention is better than resolution. So if you can prevent an attack happening in the first place, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And touch wood. And you would say, well, he's MD. He would say this, wouldn't he? But the fact, and it's a dangerous statement to make, right? But the fact of the matter is, no, I'm not even going to say it. I mean, we are finding that prevention is absolutely better than the resolution.
Yeah.
I genuinely cannot think of a client who has got our cyber stack who has been attacked.
No, and in fact, nowadays, I mean, we were at one point we were reporting, we were putting posts out on company and like yours and Tony's socials about the amount of attacks that had been targeted against some of our customers and the mitigation of those attacks. But basically, we were just repeating ourselves every time. All of our customers are protected against cyber threats. Like, we have not had a customer who has our cybersecurity solution who has experienced a cyber attack. Like, they have not. Yeah. So.
And it's the SOC is operating 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's human eyeballs. It's not just relying on automation.
Yeah.
Automation tools. I don't know if you're going to mention it now, but I know you've got an example of one of our clients who did not want to pay for the.
Yes, in fact, we'll come back to that in today's 24 Tech Tip topic, because that'll be a really good one to cover there.
And leave that there.
Yeah, but let's move on to the second news story. Although actually, probably third one now, because we've covered a few other ones.
Sorry.
So second news story for today.
You do understand? Somebody once said to me on an exhibition stand when I was talking to a potential client, "Mike, for God's sake, shut up! His ears bleed."
When I said I was going to bring you onto the podcast today, the running joke was going to be, I wonder how many tangents and other stories we can move on to whilst we're talking about different topics, which is brilliant because it gives us plenty to be able to talk about. But that's the sort of conversations that we have on a weekly basis, really, isn't it?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, moving on to this second news story of today. The online HR platform Workday has disclosed that they have experienced a data breach after attackers gained access to a third-party CRM through a social engineering attack. However, they have stated that no customer tenants were impacted, meaning that businesses who use the platform and their employees are secure. However, the contact details of those businesses, such as the names, email addresses, and phone numbers of kind of people who manage the accounts, let's say, have reportedly been accessed and could be used in further social engineering attacks on the platform. Workday added that the attackers had contacted employees via text or phone, pretending to be from human resources or IT, in an attempt to trick them into revealing account access or personal information, very similar to how the M&S cyber attack reportedly occurred, where they gained access through their IT management. However, a Workday spokesperson referenced the company's Friday blog when asked to confirm if the attackers had breached a Salesforce instance, and described the nature of the exposed information as commonly available business contact information, which honestly, that should not be an excuse for data being breached
available
at all.
What does that mean?
It's like saying, okay, you can find these people's information on the internet. That's not the point. That is not the point at all.
Well, you can now.
Yeah. By identifying the businesses and that they use Workday, those people can now be directly targeted for using that platform. It's not an excuse to say, oh, you can find their information anywhere. Okay, yeah, you can probably do that. But what is important is that these businesses, these cyber criminals now know to target these people for using this platform and to potentially gain access to their tenancies from that. I mean, whilst the company didn't directly confirm that it was a Salesforce instance, just CRM, a Bleeping Computer report this past week has learned that the Workday incident is actually part of a wave of security breaches on Salesforce instances linked to the Shiny Hunters extortion group. They've been targeting Salesforce CRM instances through social engineering and even voice phishing attacks as well, including brands such as Adidas, Louis Vuitton, Qantas, Tiffany, Dior, Chanel, and even Google to be able to steal business information. And I suppose it kind of comes back to this very first story where we talked about M&S. Do we think that these businesses should be paying closer attention to the third-party solutions that they use, part of their own supply chain? But I suppose beyond that, should Workday be using this excuse of commonly available information as an excuse for being breached?
I don't think it's so much an excuse for being breached. I think you'll find that it's an internal business protection group has immediately swung into action, and they're getting the good, comforting PR messages out before it impacts their share price. It comes back to the big brands protecting themselves yet again.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean these are big companies and large scale operations. They're probably not really being used by the sort of SMEs that we deal with.
Yeah.
And that actually allows us and people like us and our type of client to create a sort of business coterie away from these big brands, right? Because if you've got the likes of Workday, you've mentioned that, so just as an example, but there's others. You could mention SAP, you could mention Infor, or you could mention anything. Whether they're operating through AWS or through Azure, I would imagine Workday is probably AWS. But the fact of the matter is, these ransomware and threat guys, if they're going into it in a big way, let's target the big corporation, break through the big corporation. We've won a watch. We've made it big. The good news is they're not really going to be spending vast amounts of time attacking SMEs. Now, SMEs do have attacks.
Yeah.
They have different sort of attacks, and yes, from organized crime. But the sort of mitigations that can be put in place, the sort of protections that can be put in place by us and others, are adequate for that job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we are not dealing with companies with 50,000 employees or 100,000 employees.
Yeah.
Or 250,000 employees. But the downside of being caught by ransomware, if you are an SME, is it can be existential.
Yeah. Depending on the industry, I mean, we've put up articles on our website recently. Depending on the industry, it could be anything from thousands of pounds to hundreds of thousands of pounds just for an hour of lost workflow.
Again, no names, no pectoral, but we did a cyber audit for a client recently. And we went through all the numbers, we went through everything, without giving too much away. And we actually worked out that a day for them could well equate to about 1.6 million.
Yeah. And if it's the one that I'm thinking of, again, no names,
no.
It would have taken them at least a day to be able to recover their data with their current solutions.
A bit longer than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it worked out as like a day in like 5 hours or something like that.
We've gone back to them and correctly and legitimately, it's not rubbish. We can bring that down to under an hour.
Yeah, I think the solution that we're proposing to them was as little as 5 minutes. But of course, we do have high availability, like live replication failover solutions that we can offer to people as well.
It depends how far up the stack you want to go.
Yeah.
And that depends how important the downtime is to you. I mean, you know, if it's going to save you tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of pounds, then paying the money to be able to come back online within 5 minutes is worth it.
Oh, of course, more than worth it, more than worth it. Let's have a look at the third news story for today now, and it kind of links into these talks of CRMs and these third-party solutions that people have been using. and protections that people should be putting in place, let's say. So there were a mix of stories yesterday from both Forbes and Tom's Guide regarding a potential leak of PayPal login data. Now, whilst cyber criminals have released supposedly 15.8 million login details, including passwords and other account details, onto the dark web, which they state are from May of 2025, PayPal have since reached out to news agencies to dispute this supposed recent attack, stating that they have not suffered a security breach and that their records, the records that have been leaked, are actually from a 2022 breach. But still, 15.8 million login details? That's a lot. But I suppose the more important thing that we should be discussing here is that whether or not there has been a recent attack, we still provide the same advice to anyone. It's better to be safe than sorry and follow standard online security recommendations, such as the use of one password for one service, so never reuse your passwords. Use dark web monitoring service wherever available. Now, there are many password managers for personal passwords that include this, so you can be told if your password's been found in a data breach. Yeah. But on a business level, it's safer to be able to monitor your entire domain. So any account that is linked to any part of your business, a service that we are able to offer to our clients as part of our standard cybersecurity offering. But also reset passwords following a suspected or known breach. More importantly than this, though, enable two-factor or multi-factor, more specifically, for authentication for online accounts wherever possible. And nowadays, there is also the newer passkeys, which are being launched across multiple platforms as well, which combine elements of secure passwords and MFA into a single secure service that is linked to device. So make sure to enable those extra factors of authentication wherever possible. But for our customers, we actually make sure that they have MFA active not only for their Microsoft security, but also at a device level as well, keeping business hardware secure in case it's lost, stolen, or even accidentally left in a public space. I was in a coffee shop. I've talked about this on a previous episode. I was in a coffee shop recently where someone was in, probably with a work laptop, and left their laptop not only open, but unlocked. Just on a desk. They'd gone, I think, probably to the loo or something like that. Just left it open for anyone to do, for anyone to see. They could walk up, they could access things on it, or if you've got a rubber ducky, for example, I'll hold up my rubber ducky that I keep spare. Little USB device. Plug this in to a open, unlocked laptop. You could potentially extract all of the data off of that laptop, upload it into a secure online location for you to be able to access later, or gain remote access to that device in a future use case. Like, what people should be doing is making sure that they have standard account security in place, such as making sure that devices lock after a set up minimum amount of time of inactivity, as well as these additional levels of security. I mean, even Google recently confirmed that they're now making 2FA, at least, a requirement for all online accounts. I mean, I suppose for yourself, Mike, do you think that with the amount of information that's now available on the dark web for attackers, do you think that all online accounts, regardless of who operates them, should now require 2FA or MFA by default?
I think so. The difficulty is it is a pain in the teeth.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be. But the fact of the matter is, in the current climate, it is necessary.
Yeah.
Wish it wasn't, but it is. I would like to think that we live in a nice, kind, honest world.
Yeah.
And in our personal lives, we possibly do. But in terms of the public, you just can't trust it. You just never know. I was reading, I mean, it's not relevant to this discussion of, cybercrime, etc., in the examples. But I was reading this morning in the FT. There's an article about, was it the FT or is it The Economist? I forget. But the fact is, Britain, you know how the UK government claims it's world leaders in this, that, and the other, and they come out with all sorts of rubbish. There is one thing that Britain is actually a world leader in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Car theft. And no, not just car theft, but they've got the supply chains all organized, and within a day, your high-end car has been stolen,
Yeah.
hoid off, and is currently in a container on its way to either Eastern Europe or Western Africa.
Yeah.
And the amount of car theft has gone up by 75%
Yeah.
in 1 year. Now, I know that's kind of apropos of nothing. But if you think in terms of what we're talking about exfiltration of data and exfiltration of information so that criminals can actually get information about you and then target you and take money from you in one way or another,
Yeah.
then it behooves us to actually protect ourselves as much as possible.
Mm.
And it comes back to this. Have you got door locks, son? Have you got windows? And have you got burglar alarms?
I think what's interesting as well about the car theft...
Two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication is part of that stack.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about that whole car theft thing as well is that it's becoming, as cars become more technologically enhanced, is that even the word? But it's becoming easier now for run-of-the-mill criminals, not just cyber criminals, to be able to access these sorts of devices. Like, I saw a report last week, just with something that looks like an old Game Boy. People are able to put that against a car door, try to unlock it with pressing like a button or something on the car door. It then reads the request and decrypts to be able to then unlock the car. And then similarly with the start-stop button, they just put it near the button, it reads what it's asking for, then decrypts and sends it back, allowing them to be able to start the car. And going from this even further, again, I'll not name any names on this, me, yourself, and Tony sat down with a business only a few weeks back where they discussed about criminals being able to hack a car through their lights. That's scary.
That is really scary.
Again, this will only be certain vehicles more than likely.
Yes,
but
very probably.
they did give some scary examples of this, let's say, and how easy it was to be able to do. So it's definitely one that we need to be concerned about.
There is an argument for cars to return to being analog.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the good old days where you actually could tune your engine by licking your fingers and sticking them on the ends of the spark plugs, rather than now it's plug your computer into a box, go in, have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to this week's 24 tech tips topic of the week. I keep stumbling over my words with
Peter
the 24
pickled pepper,
yeah.
Topics of the week.
So this one actually, and I picked this one specifically for Mike because it'll be great to be able to hear some of his stories from over the years. But this week, it's talking about our long-standing support of logistics and warehousing and manufacturing. So the actual 24 itself, the company way back when it was originally born, was actually born out of Mike's involvement with a company called Locate It, WMS.
The company was called Clandestine.
Yes.
But the software was called Locate It.
There we go. And this was about, 30 years ago, roughly?
It started 35 years ago.
35 years ago.
Sadly, my ex, she always wanted to write computer software.
Yeah.
So I helped her start a company, Clandestine Software, would you believe? And wrote warehouse management software.
Yeah.
For third-party logistics and manufacturing.
And you actually brought Tony in to work with you, actually, at that time, didn't you?
Yes. Because this was only at the start of using handhelds in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Right. And handhelds in the warehouse, you need RF, you need Wi-Fi, you need propagation, you need all that good stuff. And of course, we needed a proper techie guy to be able to do that for us and set these things up within our clients' warehousing. And Tony, being ex-Royal Signals, absolutely ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I say, Tony started to bring people in from there, then grew to starting as a business itself.
And it just moved on from there.
Yeah, and then rebranding as 24 just over 10 years ago now. And
I got involved 7.5 years ago.
Yeah. But we'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's move on to talk more about this history. So we work with businesses in the logistics, warehousing, and manufacturing industries, as well as a bunch of other industries, by the way. We're talking things like other kinds of transportation. We're talking real estate, finance, solicitors, and places like that as well. We work with businesses in just about every industry right now. Basically to keep their wheels moving, so to speak, with 24 hours a day support in many cases. The actual part of the reason for rebranding to 24 IT Services was recognizing this change in the market to a more not typical 9 to 5 operating hours. I mean, for businesses in logistics, warehousing, manufacturing, and many others, they don't operate 9 to 5 anymore. Many of them work from early in the morning to late in an evening, if not that full 24 hours a day. So for these businesses, it's essential that they know that they have support there when they need it, and they can continue to operate. I mean, many businesses nowadays, if they didn't have technology available to them, they couldn't operate. So it's essential for businesses to have their technology work for them when they need it to, and know that they have the support there for them as well. I mean, a perfect example from this is, I think it was just over a year ago now, and Mike, you were there. We were sat in the box at Castle Park. Our operations manager, Ryan, started to receive alerts from one of our logistics clients saying that their network was offline. Further investigation, further phone calls, we discovered that the ground floor of their warehouse was actually underwater due to flooding.
Shouldn't laugh. Sorry.
Yes, it was amazing to see this actually happen in real time. We were there, sat around the table at Castle Park, and like in the middle of his food, bear in mind, Ryan left immediately. He picked up one of our engineers and headed down to this client site to support them and try and salvage as much as physically possible initially, but also to assess the damage and understand the impact so we could try and get them back up and running. I mean, this was out of hours. I believe at this point, this client wasn't even paying for like weekend support. No. We just were like, okay, we understand. We need you to get back up and running. So we will jump on this as quickly as possible. So they headed down, assessed the damage, and it allowed us to be able to arrange for replacement equipment. We even had new laptops available, or loan laptops in some cases where we couldn't get new ones in time, available for office staff to continue working that Monday morning. Yeah. We're even able to restore backups to newer and temporary hardware. We even, I believe, if I remember rightly, we spun up a cloud instance of a backup of one of their servers.
We did.
Just so that they could continue to operate.
Absolutely.
And then I believe our engineers spent 3 days on site with them, I believe. Just helping.
It was a case of what was necessary, and it is a curious thing that their whole server room was underwater.
Yeah, they had to put their team into temporary office spaces, so we had to put temporary cabling and temporary Wi-Fi solutions in place, just so that they could continue to work. And yes, some of the stock that they had in their warehouse was heavily impacted by this flooding. But they had other sites that they were able to continue to work from, and their team at their head office site, which is the site that was affected, could continue to operate. And it's about, for us, it's about understanding those needs. If a client says we're underwater, okay, we're going to jump into action straight away.
Absolutely.
And we will make sure we will, for lack of a better phrase, move heaven and earth to get them back up and running.
What can you do? I mean, you just get on with it.
Yeah. For these businesses, if they had have come in Monday morning and not been able to operate, that could have cost them thousands over days.
Could have cost them their business.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, we can't actually do a pick and pack for you. I'm sorry, we can't get those orders. Well, why not? Well, we've got no technology. I'm sorry, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It's underwater. We're buggered. We can't operate. I mean, we're trying to get manual systems going, How long are you going to last? Oh, we don't even know how much we need to invoice you at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how much we actually, you actually owe us so we can invoice you?
Yeah. I mean, we ended up, I believe, I think one of our engineers was sat on a call with Sage Support trying to get their financials back up and running on like a Sunday evening, I believe it was, if I remember rightly, just so that by Monday morning, because I believe it was like an invoicing week for them as well. They had to make sure that they got all of their invoices out. So yeah, and but that's the sort of thing, like, because we understand these industries, because we've worked within these industries for so long, we understand, look, these are the sorts of things that these people need
Yeah,
critically.
we do understand those industries, but it's one of the reasons why one of the first things that we do when we're talking to a potential new client or a new client is we go through a KYC, we go through a new know your client.
Yeah.
So we actually forget technology at this point. It's business. It's a case of, okay, tell me about your
Yeah.
business. How do you operate? What do you do? You know, I'm in order. What do you do with me? How do you get me through your business out the door and invoice you? But it is a matter of then trying to understand in the back of your mind when you're listening to all this, you're picking up the nuances of what information technology, what information they need individually and when, the various parts of the business. See, for example, in the warehouse in terms of logistics, anybody in the industry knows this, so forgive me, but not everybody would instinctively understand that if a printer goes down at the dispatch door, for example,
Yeah.
you can't produce the labeling that you need to go on either
Precisely.
the boxes or the pallets or whatever it is, to enable you to actually get it out the door and get it
Yeah.
delivered. It stops your operation.
Yeah.
Now, who would think that? You think, oh, printer's down. Okay, we can put that as it's a priority 3. We'll get round to it eventually.
Yeah.
They've got 7 other printers. That's okay. No, it's not okay.
No, in these industries, and that's why, as you say, with these know your client pieces, when we're setting up our ticket alerting systems for these businesses, if, say, for example, in a logistics firm, they have label printers, we know for a fact that those label printers are an essential, critical part of their daily
Absolutely.
business operations.
Yes.
So those immediately will be escalated to a higher ticket level than if an office printer was to go down, for example, especially if they've maybe got 3 or 4 within a building. But those label printers specifically are critical to their business
I just
operations.
pick that as an example.
Yeah.
There are other examples. But it's a matter of the nuances of an individual business and understanding what's
Yeah.
important and what matters.
And we do this for every business type in
Absolutely.
every industry. So it's not an unusual thing, and we will go, like, we'll have those deep discussions with some businesses, and it can seem sometimes like, oh, do I need to try and remember this part of my business? It can sometimes be over the space of a couple of days, but we will spend the time with these people to understand, look, what is important to you.
It pays off downstream because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're a bit like the Fifth Emergency Service, if you'll
Yeah.
forgive me, right? But for business or an insurance company, we're looking at insurance policy.
Yeah.
Our job is to make sure that the technology that people need to do their day-to-day work, they just use it.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily see it. They don't need to understand it. They don't need to, turn anti-clockwise round the maple and tickle their ear with a feather. None of that. They just come in, sit down, turn it on, it works.
Yeah.
And that's basically what people want. The other side of that is when something goes wrong, because something will go wrong. I mean, foolish to think nothing will go wrong. Something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But it's how you respond to that. And if you understand what the implications are of what you're about to deal with, you're in the best position to be able to give that client the best experience possible. Sorry, I know that sounded a bit like a sales pitch, forgive me.
No.
It's just, all comes down to understanding what your client's doing.
Yeah.
It's way
And understanding
no
what's
longer a
important.
matter of a simple bit of tech.
Yeah.
People say to us, "Oh, you're a tech company," and I suppose in many ways we are, of course. But I keep saying to y'all, we're not a tech company. We're a people business.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with people.
Yeah. We are people, and we're dealing with people.
Correct.
And this also kind of links in to the cyber aspect as well, not just the
Yes, it does.
support aspect. I mean, logistics, warehousing, manufacturing, all these industries, they hold vast amounts of customer information, shipment information, financial data, supplier data. And it's more important now more than ever that these businesses have the right security in place from these modern threats. I mean, in the UK, cyber attacks on UK businesses increased from 2.39 million in 2022 to 8.58 million in 2024. More than tripled. And that's 67% of those businesses were small to medium-sized businesses, many within these industries that we're talking about. We for us, we ensure that all of our clients, as I've said earlier in this episode even, have a strong minimum cyber defense level that's not only in line with industry standards like Cyber Essentials, but also improving upon that for data security as well, with practices in line with things like ISO 27001, things like the principle of least privilege access to make sure that Jenny in accounts doesn't have access to I don't know, Sam in HR's HR data, or John in sales can't access Jenny in accounts' financial details.
I know, sorry, if I can just interrupt there. You're talking there about least privilege access,
Yeah.
and you'll come to zero tolerance and what have you.
Yeah.
But for those who are not technically oriented, what do you mean by, yeah?
So for the policy of least privilege access, and this links in with what is called privileged identity and access management, let's say. So think of all of the people within your business. And we asked this at an event actually recently, didn't we, Mike?
We did.
Do you know within your business who has access to what information? Do you know if, as we've just said, if John in sales can access Jenny in finance's financial information? When we asked this to a room only a few weeks back, about 87% of people in that room said they had no idea. No idea who had access to what data and when. Not only that, the rest of that 13%, they said, yeah, they probably do have access to it. None of the people in that room could, with confidence, say that their data was segmented and that the people within their business only had access to the information they needed
And
to
nothing
do
else.
their roles effectively, and like you say, nothing else. And that's what the policy of least privilege access is. It's ensuring that the data within your business is segmented so that only those people can access the stuff that they need to do their job and nothing else besides.
Yes.
And that's what we support businesses do. And that's actually what ISO 27001, the data security side of that, is a huge part. And it's not just about external access to that data, but also internal access to that data as well. I mean, think of, I don't know, a business who's 500 personnel, for example. How can you know that each one of those 500 personnel aren't going to try and misuse that data if they can potentially access it?
Well, the other thing there, of course, AJ, is if somebody actually does hack into their account, right? They click on a link.
Yeah.
They don't think about it. They might go, shit, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
They click on a link and somebody gets in. Okay. So if you haven't thought about this least privilege access, of course, exfiltration, they've got access to all
Everything.
the data
Yeah.
that person's account has got access to.
Yeah. Can potentially move their way through the network to spaces where they
Yes.
shouldn't be even allowed access to begin with. Just think of it being, if it was I don't know, think of it as an intern or someone who you've got in on work experience. You create an account for them.
Sure.
But maybe you've not thought about the data that they need to access. That person, that low level person within the business could potentially receive an email, grant someone access to their system, think it's IT or something like that. Oh, I need remote access to your computer. Okay, yeah, this business doesn't have the right security in place. That person gives them access to the computer. Before they know it, that intern, that apprentice, that person on work experience has just granted a cyber criminal access to all of that business's data without even knowing it. But if that person, that intern, work experience, apprentice, however we want to word it, only had access to the information they needed to do their role, cyber criminals wouldn't be able to move through the business.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just thought it was worthwhile.
No.
Exploring what least privilege access means.
No.
You know what it means. I know what it means.
Yeah.
But it could be the case that people out there aren't
Yeah.
terribly sure. And the same with zero trust.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do I, increasingly we're going to find it difficult to know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
And to know who's coming in to interact with us. And it's ways of being able to be sure of that.
Yeah. I mean, with zero trust, for example, it's about understanding not only what you are accessing and the software that you are using, or even, like I say, I'll go back to the rubber ducky scenario.
Yeah.
Just as down to, I've got it outside of frame actually, the rubber ducky scenario.
Sorry.
Like, just think of what you're plugging into any of your business devices. Like, if you plug a USB device into your computer, do you know where this is from? Do you know where this was picked up? Was it from a show? Was it from Amazon? Was it from anywhere? Were you given it by another a coworker? Did you find it in the car park and think, "Oh, that would be a useful USB stick"? You plug this into your computer. The next thing you know,
You're
at risk. And zero trust looks at anything within your business. It doesn't have to be just a USB stick. It doesn't have to be a piece of software. It could be a file that you receive on an email. If that file, if that thing, if that device, if any of these sorts of things is trying to do or access something that it should not be able to, it gets blocked in real time.
I think it's fair to say in some businesses, these memory sticks are now banned.
In many, yeah. In many.
You plug one into a work machine is a sackable offence.
Yeah. Not only that, but in many businesses now, they ban certain devices from accessing other Wi-Fi networks or insecure Wi-Fi networks that don't have a minimum level of security actually on the encryption to the router. I mean, I'm going to go back to Doncaster Business Showcase earlier this year.
Yeah.
We had our own stand there, and we actually took our own networking equipment there to be able to do some demos and some displays and things like that. But one of the things that we had is that we had a company that works in the medical profession come to us and say, does your network that you've installed in today's venue have this type of encryption? Yes, it does. Do you mind if we can access it? We was like, okay, that's fine. Not only that, what we're going to do is we're going to segment you away from our own data, because that means that we can't access yours, you can't access ours. We will create a subnetwork for you. It'll take us 5 minutes.
Ring-fenced, totally.
It is totally ring-fenced, and you can use that secure connection. And they were like, whoa, well, we didn't expect you to do that. We just wanted to use the password. But it was like, no, not only for our safety and security, but for your safety and security, we want to make sure that we do this properly for you. And they were thrilled. They were absolutely thrilled that we're able to do that. But there are many businesses that will go down to that level. Yes, you have to use a Wi-Fi network with a minimum level of security, or you cannot access particular data. But I've got another story for this, actually, and we almost talked about it earlier.
All week.
Yeah. There was a few years ago. This was before I started, actually. And Tony spoke about this on numerous occasions when we spoke about it at events, but we were speaking with a manufacturer about onboarding them for their IT support, cybersecurity. This was around December sort of time, from what I've been told. And we'd done a cybersecurity assessment. Yeah. We'd identified high priority vulnerabilities. And they'd taken our proposal. They were going to hold off the decision until the new year when everyone was back in the office. And anyway, it was 3 a.m. Christmas morning or thereabouts.
Something like that.
We received a panicked phone call from one of their senior team members who was wrapping up.
It wasn't Santa.
No, it definitely wasn't Santa. Saying that they were experiencing a ransomware attack. And again, they were not a customer at this point in time. All we'd done is we'd given them a proposal. But despite that, they phoned up our out of hours. They spoke to our cybersecurity operations center, and we worked with them to be able to restore access to their systems.
Yep.
Again, they did not have any of our solutions in place by this point. It actually took us about 5 days, including Christmas Day, bear in mind, to be able to restore much of their critical infrastructure, and then a further 7 days to restore their complete infrastructure. But that's still 5 days where they had lost much of their work. And
But they weren't a customer. We
they
didn't
weren't.
have any immutable backups or
No.
anything like that.
If they'd have
We
taken,
could only work with what they get, what
yeah,
they gave
what
us.
they had access to
Yeah.
at that time,
That's it.
and their existing provider actually. I believe Tony's words were,
Oh,
they
dear.
were as much help
Oh,
as a
dear.
chocolate fire guard.
Oh dear. I think
Yes.
is the phrase you're looking for.
Yes.
Yes.
I think he used a little bit more.
You can fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
Definitely
there were
case
more
of, oh, dear.
expletives. I think he used at the time, but
Look, There's nothing one could do. I mean, they phoned up. They were,
we did as much as we could, and they were thankful for it.
Yes, they were.
They're still a customer to this day.
Yes, they are.
But many people don't know that, especially like think of it Christmas, Black Friday, we've got other public holidays. Cyber attacks on businesses actually increased by about 30% during those times. But that's because cyber criminals know, okay, Christmas Day, people aren't going to be in the office.
This is the weakest time.
Yeah, I can just go at it. Like, people are not monitoring things. Like, they will do what they can within those periods of inactivity and lack of monitoring by businesses that don't have the right solutions in place. And before you know it, like I say, with this instance, ransomware attack. But this is why we operate 24/7. This is why we have
operates 24/7.
Yeah, our own security operations center to be able to not only monitor for alerts, but actively hunt out vulnerabilities, hunt out threats, and patch them and keep these businesses secure.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, I know we've spoken about some of these stories already, but you've been around this industry for a little while.
Careful.
Can you think of any other examples over the years, whether it's logistics, manufacturing, or any of these other industries, of similar impacts where people or businesses have lost potentially days or weeks in some instances?
Yeah, I wish I couldn't, but I can.
Yeah, it is one of those that you see these and you're like,
going back into third-party logistics,
yeah,
right, which is something which was very close to my heart for many years.
Yeah.
Again, a company, I won't name names, it wouldn't be fair, but the fact of the matter is, they did get caught. The term ransomware wasn't really used then. This is a few years back. But they got caught. And they got caught from a virus which was attached to a order file.
Yeah.
From one of their customers.
Yeah.
And the customer concerned was actually a multinational company.
Oh.
But that put them in some deep problems.
Yeah.
For about 4 days.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was only after the event and after a lot of looking around and searching and you know, finding what the problems were that we realized where it had come from.
Yeah.
And it may surprise you to learn that the company concerned did their best to deny everything.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we had the proof, so they had to accept it.
Yeah.
But in these days of connectivity, upstream and downstream, it has become more and more important that you actually put practices in place to protect yourselves and not assume that because this company is blah, 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 that company is whatever, everything will be all right. It's amazing how large companies send you an interface file of orders that still has the date making a guest appearance in the fourth address line and all this sort of stuff. Look, you've got to be careful. It's caveat emptor.
It reminds me, and I
having said that wasn't what put that company out of business.
Yeah.
What actually put that company out of business was far more sad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't to do with cybersecurity. There was a trailer unit left outside their yard on the road. And somebody not watching what they were doing drove along and drove into the back of that trailer unit. Because it was outside their yard, they got sued for the responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's actually what it did for them. Isn't that a really, really weird way to come seriously unstuck?
Yeah.
However,
It does remind me of a couple of other instances that I've seen, even just over the last couple of years. Not customers, bear in mind, these are other businesses that I've seen in the news. In fact, one of them actually, before my dad retired, my dad worked for. Um, whilst he was there, he was working for a business. I believe it was in Leeds. Again, I'm not going to give any names. I do remember the name of the business if I remember rightly, but um, they suffered a ransomware attack and they could not recover their data. Not only had the cyber criminals accessed their live data, but also had encrypted all of their backups as well. They didn't have immutable backups in place. Immutable backups, by the way, for those who aren't aware, is read only. You cannot edit a backup data, which means that when you restore from that data, you are restoring clean information, as long as, of course, the infection isn't within those. But the immutable backup services that we use also allow us to be able to roll back for multiple days if needed, as well, in even in smaller increments if needed. But immutable backups mean that they cannot be accessed to be able to be encrypted in these sorts of instances. But yeah, they actually went out of business. They, within a week of suffering this ransomware attack, they basically said, look, there's nothing we can do. Like, we're going to have to pass on to all of our clients, look, we can't work. We don't have access to not only any of their records, but any of our own records that we can pull from. And the type of business that he did, it wasn't something you could do manually.
So sad.
Yeah, I believe they started back up again as a new business, came out of the ashes, and are now operating much smaller than they once were. But yeah, as a new business.
So what we're really saying is that IoT type devices, Internet of Things devices which are frequently on machinery, in logistics, in manufacturing, which are open and accessing the internet so that you can actually control whatever it is and change whatever it is, or receive orders or receive data in whatever way, they are frequently unsecured or inadequately protected.
Oh, so definitely.
That's something which one really does need to look at. What all these devices within anyone's business might be.
Yeah, you understand what they can and cannot access and put restrictions in place, even on a network level, to be able to protect them. I mean, we spoke last week when I had Mark Chadwick on the podcast. We spoke about using older, less secure devices, like Windows 10 is coming to life at the end of this year, and many devices that people have within their businesses may not be compatible with Windows 11.
October 15th.
14th. October 14th.
Well, from October 15th, you are open.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
But also, there are many businesses, specifically in manufacturing. I'm reminded I once worked for a window manufacturer, and they had aluminium saws and wood saws that the terminals on those used older versions of Windows. A wood saw, for example.
Operate without it.
Yeah. A wood saw, for example, that was running Windows 98. And the software that was on it was only compatible with Windows 98. You could not upgrade it. And even the computer hardware that was inside this wood saw, you couldn't upgrade that and put a newer version of Windows on it, even if you wanted to. You were restricted to using Windows 98 with that one particular software.
We're working with a client right now.
Yeah.
Rewriting an interface between their Sage X3 and their lab equipment.
Yeah.
For exactly that reason, because the current situation they've got will only operate on an unsupported old
insecure device
version.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I was coming to, that businesses now need to be able to put plans and strategies in place to migrate away from these older hardware, these older software that's no longer supported or secure, or put additional security, even at a network level, to be able to protect these devices from being the point of failure within a business.
And even though you can buy a kettle that you can control remotely from your car now, please don't.
No. Yeah, I suppose that could be a whole topic. Like, why does a mouse need an AI button? Why does a kettle need to be controlled remotely?
Great.
I saw there was an article I was reading the other day of weird AI devices. Why does a hairbrush need AI?
Just take your cap off.
Yep. I definitely do not either that, or I've been using a hairbrush that gave me wrong AI information. Maybe. No, I started losing this when I was 16.
No, all joking aside, but AI is another topic for another day.
Yes.
Because if we start down that rabbit hole,
We'll be on
we'll
here
be
for another hour.
hour.
Yeah. Well, before we start down too many more rabbit holes, usually, of course, at this point in the show, when I have a guest from the local community, I kind of dedicate a whole segment to be able to talk about who they are, what their business is. But as we've discovered already in this show, Mike has plenty of stories to be able to tell. So, Mike, can you tell us a little bit more about your history within, well, many different industries over the time that you've been in business, let's say, and what led you to being here at 24 today?
Wow. Okay. Could I just say
how long have we got?
Could I just say accident and leave it at that? No, it's ridiculous how one actually ends up doing what one's doing. It's quite a surprise sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't think of it. I mean, my original degree was maths and economics.
Yeah.
And another one psychology, believe it or not. But my first work was in the city.
Yeah.
I was money broker. Sterling Interbank. Back in. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
What date was that?
Well, put it this way: I left that in 1980.
Yeah.
Got into banking.
Yeah.
Manufacturing rather. That was banking. Got into manufacturing. And then met Jessica.
Yeah.
And she wanted to write computer software. So we started Clandestine and wrote warehouse management software.
Yeah.
So ended up implementing a few hundred of those, actually, over the years.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. I also wrote an article, one of the early articles on reliability center maintenance.
Yeah.
Because in between the manufacturing and the clandestine writing warehouse management software, I got involved in maintenance management as part of the manufacturing side. Because in those days, you had maintenance departments basically lobbing bombs over the chain link fence to production, who were saying, "You only ever take our equipment away, you're not having it," until it breaks down, and maintenance managers wanted to be heroes. So they weren't doing a lot in terms of planned maintenance. It was all sort of... So we got into this concept of reliability center maintenance, but that's another story entirely. I then gave that article to somebody else who got a PhD out of it.
Really?
Yes. I should have done it myself, but I wasn't.
We should have been talking to Dr. Mike Smith.
But I wasn't thinking about that. I actually gave the paper I wrote to a guy in Imperial Tobacco, and 3 months later...
I think we're going to start calling you doctor from now on.
Unreal. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Within my family, I've got enough doctors. Some medical, some not.
Yes.
Anne's doctorate is actually in linguistics.
Oh, right. I knew that she'd studied linguistics. I didn't realise it was doctor.
Oh, yeah. But that's all to do with analysis, which comes back to AI again, because it's all about the data, and it's all about analytics and probability theory. But that's another thing. So, manufacturing, warehouse management software, that got us into warehousing and logistics.
Yeah.
Tony, and then when it came round to the rebranding, it was a case of Tony reached out.
Yeah.
And sort of said, got an opportunity of buying a local company. Do you want to have a look at them and give me your advice and see what you think? Because I'd done an amount of M&A by then. I'd actually bought and sold 2 or 3 companies by that time. So I did. And gave him the advice he wanted. I said, okay, let me have a look at yours. So we had a look at the rebranding in 24. And it was a case of, okay, why don't I give you a hand? And we started working together.
Yeah. That was 2017?
I bought into the company. At that point, we were what?
9 team members, I think, back
9
then.
team members, turnover of maybe 600,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And now we're 51.
53 as of next week, I believe.
As of next week, yes.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I think it's sort of 51. With a turnover this year of about 4.5 million.
Yeah. It's great to be able to see how far it's come.
You see, the plans are for growth.
Yeah.
And we've got a strategy in place for growth and plans in place for growth.
Yeah.
So the aim is to at least double that over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And actually, we can do it.
Yeah. The strategies that we've been speaking about, again, not sharing any information on this, but
this is the difficult thing.
The strategies that we've been speaking about are very exciting, and
they are.
And it's good to be able to see that as a business, even just in the time that I've been here, we've grown as much as we have. When I started a couple of years back, we had, I believe, 37 team members, and just in that small period of time, growing to the stage that we are at now and bringing on board different businesses, like it's exciting times.
It is exciting times. But you see, especially during the pandemic when there was time to do that, we spent a lot of time actually training, thinking about what strategy we were going to run down, but then spending a lot of time in terms of training people,
progressing
because
people.
At the end of the day, our job is to make a client's tech invisible to them. They just run it. They just do what they need to do. 24/7 just happens. And deal with people as people. And looking after them as people. So if you give folk a decent, this sounds like a sales pitch again, forgive me, but if we can't do the technical stuff, we shouldn't be doing this at all. So forget that. It's then everything down to the people, right? If you deal with the people well, so that they don't feel you're talking down to them, you're listening to what their issues might be and answering those issues sensitively and carefully. And providing strategic information and help for them when, I'm thinking of doing this tomorrow. I'm thinking of doing that tomorrow. I'm thinking of doing the other tomorrow. Then everything else follows. I mean, those CSAT scores that we've got on the website, they are not fabricated. They are not lies.
No, live over the last 30 days.
Average across all our client base. And I do mean
there's 15,000 users.
It's more than that now.
Yeah.
That's not cause for complacency. Please don't misunderstand me. We've worked hard to get to there, but the team out there that you can't see, the team out there are very proud of what they do. And they self-manage, and they want to give that good service to clients. And that's one of the reasons why when we do get clients, they tend to stay. Which is great.
Our customer attrition it's an industry low, really, isn't it? Was it 3% over 3 years? The average for our industry is 7% per 12 months, I believe, off the top of my head. But it just goes to show that people want to stay with us because they feel valued. Not only that, but the team want to stay with us as well. And just to kind of take a sidetrack for a second, when I joined the business, one of the reasons that I joined is because we have such a good work ethic and such great values as a business. I mean, if I come to yourself, for example, Mike, and say, the kids have got a school play or a school certificate or something like that.
Absolutely not.
The very first thing. Well, you'll joke about it first, but the very first thing you'll say is, of course, head over to it.
Absolutely. No question.
And we have things like
human beings, and we've all got lives.
We have duvet days. Like people, if they're struggling with mental health, they're struggling with something in their life, no questions asked. Just phone in, I'm really
Buy
struggling
8
today.
o'clock. But,
Yeah.
And you've got two.
Yeah.
Two a year. You can take it.
Yeah. And not that I've actually needed to take any yet, but
Neither have I.
no, but there are team members who have needed support, and we will go out of our way to make sure that they feel supported. We have, and again, I don't want to name any names because I don't know whether they would feel comfortable talking about this, but we've had a team member recently who had to travel abroad because they had lost a family member, and we, again, supported them in that effort. Not only did we make sure that they could go over, they could spend time with their family for the amount of time that they needed to, but also supported them coming back to work following that as well, and ensuring that if they needed that extra time to be able to speak with family, to be able to spend time with their family, that they had that available to them.
Think of it this way. How would you treat your own family?
Yeah.
If your own family needed you for something?
Yeah.
Well, it's no different.
No. And that's one of the things that, and again, I feel like I'm kind of selling the business to the people that work here already, but that's one of the things that I love about working here. Like, you can tell that yourself, Tony, and other members of the team, Lucy, Ryan, they care for the people that are here and they want what's best for them.
It's not lip service.
Yeah. But whether it's supporting them with family, whether it's supporting them with mental health,
Whatever.
Whether it's providing training, like everyone is allowed half a day, a full half a day per week of training if they want it. And if they have certifications, for example, paying through the certification process. If they need extra time to be able to study for exams, we'll support them in having that extra time to study for exams. Like, it's about supporting people to get to not only where they want to be, but do what is right for them in personally and as a business. I mean, we've had team members here that Ryan, for example, started as an apprentice. I'm pointing that way. He's actually moved into an office over in that direction. But Ryan started as an apprentice. Back before the rebrand, I think it was. He's now operations manager. Tom started as an apprentice. He's now third line engineer, but also handles a lot of our internal network stuff as well. In fact, he's doing an internal network project today, in fact. We've had people that have progressed through the business because they understand that we support them through it.
I'm a great believer that excellence is something that happens as a result of people doing good things.
Yeah.
And you know, AJ, I'm actually not technical.
Yeah.
I'm probably the least technical person in this business. I don't need to be.
Yeah.
My job is to be an enabler.
Yeah.
And if I can enable the great people that we've got here to do their job, and a great job, then I'm doing my job. If I'm in their way, if I'm a block, then get rid of me.
No, we can't get rid of you, Mike, because then I won't be able to call you and ask you to sponsor things like the headline sponsor for the Business Awards. I see what I did there with that. Brilliant transition on my part. So
I noticed that, I noticed what you did there.
Leading into the sponsorship for the Business Awards, we also sponsor, I'm wearing the cap, Doncaster Knights, Tickhill Cricket Club as well. How much do your eyes roll nowadays when I ask you for money?
No, it isn't so much how much my eyes roll. It's the tears of blood that start coming out.
Mike, can we buy a projector? How much is it going to cost me?
Yeah, are you actually going to use it? You know? No, it's true. All you do is spend money.
It's all to
no, that
push us forward.
That's just the rubbish.
Raise brand awareness.
Brand awareness. Can I?
Well, speaking on the Business Awards and the headline sponsorship, can you speak a little bit more as to, apart from me asking you to spend money, the reasonings behind us wanting to be able to sponsor the Business Awards this year?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we're headquartered here in Doncaster.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got branch down in Camberley, and we've got the team, the cyber team, the SOC team. But our HQ is here in Doncaster. Now, as you all probably know, Doncaster is doing an awful lot of good work in terms of trying to encourage businesses to come into the area, work in the area, and grow employment within the area and grow the tax take within the area and just to generally improve the area. Now, we are part of that coterie of great businesses that are here and in South Yorkshire in general, right? So last year, as you know, we sponsored the Large Business of the Year award, which actually we're doing again this year.
Yep.
Because we did it last year, and it gives me another excuse to get on stage with my kilt.
Yep. I keep joking that's the only reason why we're still doing it.
It is the only reason. I can't think of any other reason. No, seriously. But it seems to me you've got all these great businesses out there growing, doing great things. Okay, we're trying to play our part in terms of helping them utilize their tech stack and use their tech stack in an invisible way, so that it just happens for them. That's great. But in order to make it visible and sort of say, look, isn't Doncaster great? Isn't South Yorkshire great? Look at the great businesses that we have here. Then that's where the likes of the Business Awards come in.
Yeah.
So we're in a position to be able to sponsor the overall awards and
give back and
kind
celebrate.
Of a privilege and pleasure to be able to do so. Yeah, it is kind of giving back. You know, the cynical will say, oh, it's just a way of getting your name in front of all these businesses. Our name's in front of all these businesses already.
Yeah.
We don't need to do this.
Yeah, we've seen incredible progress in brand recognition throughout the local region over the past couple of years.
But it is a good thing to do. So why not do it?
Yeah. Celebrate these
It's not costing us a huge amount of money.
No.
So it is absolutely worth doing. And if it helps raise the profile of Doncaster as a place, South Yorkshire as a place, a great place to do business, that's actually in everybody's best interest. Because if we can encourage particularly manufacturers to come here and do things, then that is going to increase the business cake for all of us.
Yeah, especially with more things coming into the area.
Yes.
The airports potentially in the not too distant future. Yeah.
Hopefully that will just absolutely continue to happen.
Yeah.
Because
there's lots of opportunities around there. Lots of opportunities around there. Not just with the airport itself, but with other businesses coming into that area around not only the airport directly, but the wider region for that the transport capabilities that it will have.
Infrastructure, it really does. The fact that airport is there.
Yeah. So really excited for the Business Awards this year. It's going to be a great evening. We will have 3 tables full of people in attendance.
Like it was 3 last time, was it not?
2 last time. We've got an extra table this time. Yes,
that's more money that you've spent then. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And all these people will want food.
They will, and drinks.
God, listen.
I haven't approached him about this one yet.
My mother is Scottish. My father was a Yorkshireman. You know, I'm half Scottish, half Yorkshire. Can you imagine what that's like? And not only Scottish, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know the difference between Yorkshire folk and Edinburgh folk.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, Edinburgh folk are Yorkshire folk with the generosity bred out. Oh, Michael, come in, you'll have had your tea. I mean, honestly, isn't that something that a grandmother should say?
No. But no, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great evening. And I say, to be headline sponsors this year, it's going to be a brilliant opportunity to celebrate those local businesses. I mean, we've got the finalist announcements in just a couple of weeks' time, in fact.
How many awards are there? Do you know?
16, 18? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's something like that. Yeah. I think if you include things like the Business Person of the Year or what's the other one? People's Choice. I think it probably extends up to about 18. I would have to double check that, so bear with me on it. But yes, it's you've got everything from, like I say, large business that we're sponsoring, new business of the year, micro business, charity of the year, which was won by our friends Active Fusion a couple of years ago.
Yes, it was.
but also things across education and apprentices and things like that as well. So no, really, really exciting. So I'm looking forward to celebrating with these finalists. Just to become a finalist of the Business Awards itself is an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter at that point if you win or not. Well, it does to a little bit to an extent. I'm still bitter that we didn't win one last year, but that's beside the point. That's a different thing entirely. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But to become a finalist is an incredible achievement in itself. And I'm looking forward to being there with about 1,000 people from across the local region. It's the biggest business awards in our area, bigger than Sheffield, bigger than Barnsley and Rotherham. Sorry, Sheffield and Barnsley and Rotherham, but we are chamber members of them as well.
We are.
Bear that in mind.
Yes, yes.
But Doncaster is the biggest business awards.
Proud to be so.
Yes, we are. We're not just Doncaster chamber members. We're South Yorkshire chamber members.
Absolutely.
That's the distinction there. It's not about 3 individual chambers. It's about being members of the South Yorkshire business community.
Yep.
But anyway.
Moving on.
I think that's about all we've got time for today. I will be getting messages from Sarah soon saying that we're going to be encroaching on her record for the longest podcast yet.
No. You mean I've just been talking too much again?
No. No, I think she holds the record at about 90 odd minutes. So she keeps moaning every time we start reaching that getting close to that 90-minute mark. Is he going to pass my record?
Well, I hope people have enjoyed it and found it useful.
I know I have. Some of the information that you've talked about from the history of, like, your own history within the industry and from 24 as well, I wasn't even aware of. And now I feel like I learn something new every time we talk about stuff like this. So, no, really thankful.
Not even aware I've got an MBA.
If we skipped over some topics...
No, not at all. There are things that just don't matter.
I now want to hear about this. Come on.
No, you don't. It really doesn't. You're talking 30 years ago. I had my summer school out in Lisbon.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the Católica University of Lisbon.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a Catholic, but that's where it was.
Yeah. With
the wonderful Jorge Vasconcelos talking about strategy.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great fun.
I did not know that.
That was 1991.
Ooh. Anyway.
Moving on.
Like I say, what we'll do is we'll wrap up now for this week, though. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in or is tuning into the recording for this week's episode. It's been great to be able to speak with Mike. We're bound to have on more people. I keep trying to get Tony on an episode. We've had to cancel a couple of times, but we're bound to have more people from 24, as well as, of course, speaking with you, people from across our local business community. I believe the next episode, which isn't next week because I'm off on annual leave again next week. And how dare I? 2 weeks within August, I'm off. But yes, I believe the next episode, which should be the 3rd of September, is with, at the moment, Wayne Sables, if he's still available for it, the local filmographer who worked with Active Fusion on their recent When You Try campaign as well. So looking forward to speaking with him then, and we've got plenty more people lined up coming up to the end of the year. I've had more people, even in this last couple of weeks, reaching out to me saying, do you mind if I come on to a podcast episode in the not too distant future? So looking forward to being able to speak with you all as well. Thank you very much again, Mike, for being able to join us again today. And
pleasure.
I suppose we will see you all in the not too distant future. Speak to you later.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.